flat, very bright, 4500 nit, 1.5K resolution, 144Hz refresh rate, 6.78-inch AMOLED display with 2304Hz PWM dimming, and it is a gorgeous looking display that boasts incredibly vivid colors, but it's only protected by Gorilla Glass 7i. It also only has an IP64 dust and water certification. It's also extremely heavy at 220 grams, but it's actually pretty thin at 7.9 millimeters, despite it housing a self-healing 7000 mAh silicon carbon battery backed by 100 watt wired charging, 50 watt wireless charging, and to make it even extra ultra, there is reverse wireless charging as well as adaptive bypass charging. But powering it is a sub-flagship level chipset, the MediaTek Dimensity 8400 Ultimate, featuring an all-big core design and a max clock speed of 3.25 GHz. There's also 12 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM, up to 512 gigs of UFS 4 storage, and a new ice core cooling system with a large vapor chamber to keep things cool. So it's no slouch when it comes to benchmark scores. It doesn't quite reach flagship CPU scores, but gaming performance is what really matters here. And when playing Genshin Impact on maxed out settings, which is a 60 FPS capped, very demanding game to play, we averaged a solid 60 FPS most of the time. There's also a game menu when in-game, which packs in so many different features, but there's no upscaling or frame interpolation feature, and there's no performance monitoring tool. Withering Waves is also limited to 60 FPS, but it's a lot more demanding, and the phone averaged around 43 FPS, which is okay, considering we cranked all the graphical settings to the max. There was quite a bit of frame stutter though, and the phone definitely warmed up quite a bit in the hand, and its brightness kinda dropped a bit as well to prevent it from overheating. Call of Duty Mobile doesn't have an FPS cap, but it's not the most graphically intense game. We set the in-game FPS to ultra with super resolution enabled and averaged 120 FPS while playing, which is really good to see. But this phone has a 144Hz display, so it's a bit disappointing that it hasn't been fully optimized to run this game at its native refresh rate. Haptic feedback is actually very good, and while the JBL-tuned 360-degree dual stereo speakers get plenty loud and offer superb quality, the bottom speaker gets a lot, and I mean a lot louder than the top speaker.
You can't keep up with me.
There's no doubt that this phone will satisfy most gamers, and for everyday performance, there is also a built-in optimization engine which makes the phone feel extremely snappy when using the system UI. It relies on XOS 16, which is skinned over Android 16, and while out the box it's very car-themed in terms of wallpapers and icons, I managed to get it looking more like a normal phone. There's something called glow space, which affects visual elements and gives it a bit of a liquid glass look. There's adjustable folders and even folder scrolling, but the folder order when scrolling is a bit all over the place. There's of course widgets, and some of them have clearly been inspired by iOS. And while there are stackable widgets, you can only stack them on top of the AI suggestions widget, and there's no way of removing the actual AI suggestions card that comes with it. You also can't add more than one of the same widgets to your home screen. There's dynamic bar, which is again very iPhone driven, and there's also a built-in AI assistant called Folax, and the cool thing with it is that it includes all the AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini without needing to download additional apps or subscribe to any service. But you can of course completely change the default digital assistant if you'd like. There's a ton of other AI features too, and while there is Circle to Search, there is no Google Discover to the left of the home screen. INFINIX are also promising 3 years of OS updates and 5 years of security patches, but that's pretty low when compared to other brands. There is free global two-way satellite communication, which is a very big deal, but it's limited to certain countries. There is 5G of course, but there's also eSIM support, which is another big deal. There's an IR Blaster too, and you can even share files with iPhones, though you need to download a separate app on your iPhone for it to work. So what's left? The cameras. On the front, there's a 32 megapixel snapper, and inside that stunning camera module,